Coming from the TRUSPACE, we ain't entertaining neighbors, I don't give a fuck what you say. Found the universal coochie, planting seeds and birds fruit, now I'm really looking juicy. Welcome to the TRUSPACE, yeah bitch, welcome to the TRUSPACE. Welcome to the TRUSPACE, yeah bitch, welcome to the TRUSPACE.
Alright, what's good everybody? It's your astrology open book. Welcome to TRUSPACE, and this is a tarot reading for all of Libra season. How Libra season is going to hit us all as a collective. And then even just looking at the energy of Libra, look where we came into. We came into, give yourself a round of applause or a pat on the back. We made it to the halfway point of this transit. I don't know niggas talking about the end of the year. I don't know what them niggas be talking about, because we've only just made it halfway through the astrological year, aka and best believe that there's a lot more to come, or that these themes will continue on to the next year. That's kind of dumb how people even think that, or how we look at it. A new year, it's like a new chapter. Nah, it's literally a continuation of the other one where you look astrologically, and whether you just look in life in general and shit like that, you know what I mean? Quick example was that fucking election last year fucking happened in November, and then next year, I know it's pretty close to each other, then the January 6th thing happened. That's pretty close together, but it was a continuation of the energy, you know? And then niggas was talking about that, you know, progressively. It wasn't a new year, oh, you know, new things, you know, we're focusing on all of that. No, it was still progression, even down to when you were in school. It was never a fucking year 2022. It was fucking 2000, or you know, when you're going to fucking school and shit like that, it would be the year impartial, because you start in September going into, that's how it be. But it's this halfway point that we've come at when we're talking about Libra season. And Libra, it represented in the body, would be the hips, you know, would be that balancing point, that bridge that's bridging the individual aspects to collective aspects, or individual mindsets to collective mindsets. It's that bridge. It's bringing that individual mindset and bringing it out onto the collective level, and starting that communication, you know, starting the conversation, start articulating the ideas and displaying the behavioral patterns that you have developed, Aries, up to Libra, up to this point. And then Libra is having energies, because just even peep the seasons, peep the energy of how things progress, and peep the seasons, and then you can understand what being in line with nature, being in line with the environment. Just literally look at the environment, see what state of being it's in. Because in spring, Aries, it's the primordial force. Things are getting that first energy, you know, that first beams of sunlight, you know, that first push to start growing. And then Taurus, things are really soaking up. It's really based off of obtaining nutrients, and you know, and relying on something, really diving in, you know, really producing, you know, collecting all the things that you're going to need, and dealing with your possessions, aka just like a baby when they come out, first thing they need is milk, you know. They need that security and comfort, that type of aspect. And then after you start, everything starts to disperse, or it's kind of like analyze, and now you start to look around after the primordial force birth, you know, after you went and learned what value was, what self-worth was, and how to obtain things, or what has value. Then you started thinking and communicating about these things, having initial thoughts. Oh, what if I were to put this with this, or what if I were to do this, that, and the third? And that's Gemini. That first initial thought, looking at things as the surface, just pushing out thoughts. That type of aspect. That curious mindset, asking questions and shit like that. And then when you get into Cancer, you're making impressions, or you feel a type of way off of, you're gaining your first impressions off the thoughts that you had after the first season. Now we're in spring, now you have progressed into summer type aspects. So after spring, after you had given birth, seen value and then thought and then communicated about it, now you have certain impressions. You feel a certain way about things. So this thing gives you comfort. This thing makes me uncomfortable. Now you have an impression of things. Leo, now you're starting to push out what you actually enjoy, of what you want to see, what you want to creatively express, what you want to bring into the world, based off of how you had felt and what you had liked to feel and what you had didn't like to feel. And then Virgo, you're starting to perfect it, or you had shine out that light, and now you analyze the ricochet of those light beams and how it had played out and shit like that. AKA, the sun was sustaining at that point, and giving everything and that point in summer, giving everything light, everything's growing, and then Virgo is coming at the harvest time. How hot was the sun? Did we have enough sun this summer and type of thing? How good was the reap? How much did we create? How much did we sow? That's what you come and start to collect Virgo season. Start coming and seeing all of those receipts off of the actions that you had built, positive or negative type deal. And then it starts to collect, and you're starting to see what had been done, or you start to see what had worked and what had not worked. And then once you figure out what works and what doesn't work, and how you make sense and how to mitigate your own time and scheduling and shit like that, once you start reaping the benefits of what you had, your harvest from your garden, now you start entering into the social stage. Now you go and trade and barter with the niggas from the other farm, because they may have more cucumbers than you do, but you can sauce them some eggplants, and and you have enough cucumbers and eggplants to start lasting you. That's what that Libra energy, that diplomatic type energy, that fair, that distribution type aspect, bringing harmony to things. That's when you start making relationships, because you're aware that winter is about to come. So AKA, things are about to get cold. Things are about to get very hard and scarce. Therefore, we need to build relationships and partnerships to be able to, teamwork makes the dream work. That's what everybody's seeing right now. In terms of it being used against you, or if you're on the right side of the energy, you're the one who's trying to get into that bag and trying to manifest based off of teamwork makes the dream work. Having a partnership based off of genuine mutual interest, where you're aware of the other person's energy and they're aware of your energy, and you guys are able to mingle without distortion. That's being in the healthy Libra energy, and that's how you start to bring harmony to situations and stuff like that. Trying to force that type of harmony, if there's no harmony, or just the fact trying to force harmony makes things disharmonious already in the first place. So you can't even go down that route. It has to flow. Harmony has to flow in it, and if it's not a flowy path, then you're gonna have to find a way to go around it, or that other individual is gonna have to open up, or you can't really worry about that. The focus is on making genuine relationships. And it's funny, Libra energy and just the seventh house in general is like where you would find your friends, your and one-on-one relationships, yeah. But this is also open enemies. So also be prepared, and don't forget the slick talking that goes on with Libra. The slick talking, persuasive type ability, making something seem so nice, making something seem so favorable, like it's something that you want to dive into. Meanwhile, it's hollow or doesn't fucking exist at all. That's the type of energy Libra will get you in. If you're starting to fall into that persuasive side, it's going to sound good, but is there really any substance up that leads to it? They talk a good game, but do they actually deliver? So keep your eyes open, because when we're talking about Libra, when we're talking about friends and relationship, we're also talking about enemies, open enemies, and people who are openly against you or moving against you type deal. So while the focus is on your relationships, make sure that there's integrity in the relationships that you're at, because we're dealing with sex. This is when you having a relationship with someone else is already blending energy. You're doing it mentally and not necessarily diving into it fully physically, which will make it more intense. But that type of stuff, that energetic interaction, is already going on a lighter realm of reality. And you could easily be siphoned, or easily extend out a hand in an area or try and bring harmony into an area that there doesn't need to be harmony in. Maybe you need to go to war within that. Maybe you need to go and fight that person. Maybe you don't need to persuade them. Maybe things you don't need to tend to that. Burn that bridge, that type of aspect, depending on what situation and scenario you are in. But that Libra energy can trap you in terms of the sugarcoating aspect and being persuaded and rocked to sleep, having someone think that they're your friend, Democrats, liberals, and having someone think that they're your friend or pretend to be your friend, and they don't really have anything good to offer you, or it's all sauce, or once you're a friend, be like, hey, didn't you say we were gonna go and play? And be like, no, I don't want to play with you. Be like, what happened? I just went and gave you did whatever for you. What happened? And they're like, oh, I forgot. I didn't even remember that promise that I made. And you're like, what? That's the type of shit that you get in. If you have been, but then at that point, that's your fault, because you're already mingling energy with that person. And if that relationship lacked authenticity, then it was up to you to correct it. And if it's not corrected at that point, know what I mean? Get this shit fucking focus. Focus, nigga. Anyways. So yeah, that's the energy of Libra that we're kind of starting to go into. And even with all of that stuff being said, and yes, you do have to watch out for those types of relationships, and it's ever apparent, the fucking devil would wear a dress. The devil would dress up like you, and pretend that he's you, and to get you to get mad at yourself or something. It's along those lines. Or they're going to wear a disguise. Basically, what I'm saying, it's not going to come and looking. The devil's not going to come with devil horns and shit like that. He's going to come in disguise. If you've seen a series of unfortunate events, it's fucking Count Olaf. That's literally the best metaphor that you can ever see. If you haven't seen it, fucking watch it, and then you'll understand what I mean by Count Olaf. Just a fucking different costume, and it's the same nigga. That's literally the transformation that be going on. So don't fall for that sweet talk, but at that same time, don't be scared to push out that extra hand. Don't be scared to mix and blend your energies with other people. Just reaffirm that it's based off of authenticity, especially with all of the planets in Aquarius. It's really helping you boost that social life, or it's really introducing you to putting you in the right places, putting you in the right social groups for you to actually now make those one-on-one genuine relationships based off of people who are like-minded, people who genuinely think the same things that you think and want to do the same things that you do. But make sure that's not on no flunked outness, and when they're getting lost, and then now you're perpetuating your lostness by getting lost in the mind. Maybe it's all logical, or maybe you like the ideas and stuff like that, but it's your heart behind it. It's the fire, the water, and the earth present. Or you getting lost in the mind and the logic. That's also another thing you have to be worried about. And this is where mixing and blending the energy with other people, that kind of lets you know where you're bugged out. People are a mirror, so if you're looking at yourself and not understanding your own internal natures and being all flunked out and all of that type of shit, just talking to another person is the quickest way to let you know where you are at. And that's Libra season, and that's the dynamic between Libra and Aquarius. People often use their relationships wrong, or look at them in such a unbeneficial, siphoning way. Every single one of your relationships you are benefiting from, because you are learning something, and not necessarily based off of factoids or more information, or even if it is people who only talk about shit that you hate to talk about, and type of shit. If that's what you're around and shit like that, you are learning how much you hate to talk about that shit, and how much you wish you were around people who didn't talk about that shit. So you is learning some shit, always, forever. So never look at it like it's like you're looking at it less, because you're never going to get to that. You're not at that mindset, you shouldn't be. You went through Aries to Libra. Don't act like you didn't collect a harvest just because Other people, seem like they had a bunch of harvest, or they reaped a whole bunch of fruit. Let's see how the winter goes. Let's see how the winter goes. Let's see how genuine, how good the seeds they planted. See how it plays out at the end. That type of aspect. So don't be worried about that type of stuff. Just focus on making those genuine relationships and connections based on off of like-mindedness. Don't be afraid to extend your hand out there. Don't be afraid to mention that topic, to that person, because they very well may open up that opportunity for you to establish a new relationship. Now you guys are about that shit. Now you guys are partners. Now you're fucking building businesses. Doesn't have to be on a business type thing. Now maybe you're building a fucking social group, or on building something, or just connecting on that level. Now you have someone who you can relate to on that level. You know what I mean? It's just a partnership. You working, teamwork makes the dream work. Getting it together with like-minded people. Maybe y'all can do this project together, and then with another friend, y'all can go and link up and do that. But those friends, don't like each other or are into different things. That type of aspect. So you're not really lost or tied up into your relationships, but they are forever helping you expand and learning more about yourself. Now you're starting to get into the positive side of Libra. That's the energy starting to be digging into. But now we're getting into the tarot readings for all 12 signs. And you could just skip to the point where I'm talking about your sun sign. This is more for like sun, moon, and ascendant for all of it, but it's really more for the energy of the zodiac in itself. So when I'm talking about Aries, pulling cards for Aries, I'm talking about for Aries in general. So whether you have Jupiter in Aries, Mars in Aries, whatever type of alignment, it kind of wherever house you have Aries within your chart, that's the energy that I'm addressing, and it's going to play out into that area of life. So you really should, and this is with all tarot readings that are talking about 12 signs and shit like that. Maybe not all, because maybe the channeler's not in that frame of mind, but for the most part, when somebody's doing a reading for Aries, when someone's doing a reading for Taurus, for Gemini, it's not like it doesn't apply to you. It's not like you are just an Aries just because that's where your sun is. You are the entire zodiac wheel from your head to your feet. That's Aries. Your throat is Taurus. Arms is Gemini. Your fucking breast and shit like that is fucking Cancer. Heart, Leo. We're talking about guts and intestines, Virgo, and blah blah blah, so on. I could do the whole body. That type of aspect. But this is where we're talking about when we're dealing with the zodiacs and shit like that. So all I'm saying is that it's a holistic type aspect, and you get the most out of that stuff when you look at it holistically. So see where Aries or wherever they are in your chart, or you can see if you want to just look at where your sun sign is. You can go and see the reading that is for you. But I'm gonna start with using my light and shadow deck, which is a fucking double deck tarot deck, which is 2 decks, which is fucking sick. I love this deck so much, where you have a shadow side and a light side, and I just feel like it really does play on, well, I'm already about that yin and yang, about the balancing of the, that spectrum type aspect, because masculine and feminine, because that spectrum, everything exists with on that spectrum, or that encapsulates a lot. When you look at the world, when you understand that type of energy, when you understand masculine, feminine, and yin and yang, that type of aspect, it's in everything. And the fact that, if that sounds weird, it's like, where are you? It's crazy when you come to that type of realization. It's not even like you look at other people like that, like, oh, where like their minds are in the wrong place. No, you don't even think that, because you're just stuck on how your mind was in the wrong place, how you couldn't see this obvious truth before. That's where my mind goes. It's like, damn, I really was a dumbass nigga. And then kind of understand when other people start being dumbass niggas. But anyways, with this deck, with the light deck, or with the light side of the deck, which is just a regular tarot deck, both of them are both regular tarot decks, but the light deck is going to represent what is consciously in front of you, the archetype that is in front of you that you are trying to assimilate, that is making itself present in your reality. The card that I pulled from the shadow deck the one that is dark and shit like that, is going to represent the unconscious aspects, what you are not paying attention to, what may be influencing you that you don't notice, or that is playing within the backseat. And I'll pull one card for each sign, and then I'll also pull an oracle card in terms of advice moving forward. What advice does the wisdom of the moon have to help us move forward? Best advice to manifest, abundance in our life, that type of aspect. And that's what the oracle card would be. And I'll pull one oracle card for each sign too. So let's get it cracking for Aries. It's for Aries. Checking out the light deck. What are you consciously paying attention to, Aries? And how can you best assimilate the positive traits of this archetype? Jesus. Page of Swords, which is interesting. So it's like the potential when you're dealing with the pages and stuff like that. You're dealing with raw potential. It's like royalty, but before they're stepping into their power. So it's like the raw potential of having mentalities, so it's like you could have that strong mentality, aka you really could facilitate a strong mentality, but I just know for Aries, when you're talking about a spark, when you're talking about something that just starts, it kind of maybe relies on, I don't even want to say relies on other people too much, because fucking Aries energy, how they're not waiting for anyone type aspect, but because they're very individual people. But it's like out of, just like how Libra is in the opposition of Aries, how Aries doesn't really get that thinking about everybody else first type aspect, or considering how everybody else feels. So to really well articulate how you are feeling, Aries, at the moment, or the desire, the passions that you are feeling, is not an easy task. But there's that potential, like you really could, like you're feeling a lot, and the way you express things, if you were to simply just articulate it a little better, or the potential for you to explain yourself better is really there. So don't be like, fuck it, I'm not going to explain, because or it'll take too long. You probably could sum up, do an explanation, in half the time that you think you would, and because of that articulation, because you took the time to do it and formulate, that thought, now there's actually been more beneficial outcome, or now you're understood better, now things are, your idea is getting across, it's not kept internal, or it's not immediately damn them, or immediately assume that things aren't going to work, or that you couldn't communicate it, or that you had to do it first, or that you had to go and start something else or do something else. You come into a wall type aspect, and then instead of figuring out what way to articulate, or figuring out a way to communicate it better, it's just off to start something new type aspect. So that's the chapter you will get into. So don't doubt that communicative aspect for you to really talk about how you feel, or for you to get that, for you to start a relationship. Fuck around in that bluntness, that that desire to express, that your energy, it will be what you are celebrated for. Too much. I have friends that are that quintessential Aries type energy, and that's the type of shit I fuck with them about, even though it does get in the way sometimes. Fucking selfish ass niggas. I'm not gonna lie, but it reminds me, sometimes you gotta be a selfish ass nigga. When I see them do it, it's like, damn, yeah, that nigga did go and take the last one. It's like, but it makes you really think, or makes you not forget about yourself, or really be brave, go and get your own type energy. to step into that warrior type aspect. But even a warrior needs to be diplomatic, Aries, to some degree, you know, because how else are you going to lead the troops, you know, if you're not able to articulate it to or reach some type of common ground? So let's see what is about on the shadow for Aries. What are you unaware of? What forces or archetype may be playing behind the scenes that is influencing how you feel this Libra season? Alright, Three of Serpents. So with the Three of Serpents, we're kind of talking about, you know, that desire. And the Three of Serpent, astrologically speaking, I think we're talking about Mars in Capricorn. That's what the card represents. So Mars is already exalted in Capricorn. And since we're talking about the energy of Aries, it's the exaltation, you know. You're ready, willing to give and go to war, or there's a lot of energy that's inside of you, and passion that is ready and willing to be used. But in that exaltation, or it can go too far in terms of wherever you are putting that energy and that passion into, you know. If you're putting it into something, it can end up being, you know, chains. It can actually end up being something that is siphoning your power. You know, that's the type of power, the aspect where power corrupts. That's probably a topic I don't have to really delve too deep into when we're talking about Aries energies, because y'all niggas already know that shit. That power corrupts, and then especially when you build structure for that power to prevail, it can go and corrupt even more. So make sure that there are integrity in your desires, and to double check the desires that you have in you that don't have integrity, that you can't bring onto the world stage. Maybe those are the things that is preventing you from articulating yourself properly. It's those desires that you don't want to get out, or it's this ambitious, not even type of ambitious, but this flame about you that is wild and uncontrolled. And if there are any areas of you that is where that lacks that authenticity, that is not true to yourself, and you know other people are getting around that flame, it's gonna burn them too, and it'll burn down everything. That type of aspect. So don't hold on to those desires, because you know how deep you go on onto these desires. You're quick to let things go too. um but those sustaining fires, because you are the fire starter, make sure that your desires have that integrity first. Make sure that your desires align with what you are trying to manifest, or how you are trying to represent yourself. And then you'll find that there is less blockages and things in the way of you actually articulating how you feel, because there is no longer anything that you need to hide or need to hold back or be wary of. You know, like what I'm saying, your energy, that passion could really be what is celebrated about you. But you just have to present it in a way that is not hostile. You know, present it in a way like this is me, and that this is value. You have to see the value in yourself for anybody else to see it. You know, that type of aspect. You have to, you know, want to be, not even just want to be received in a specific way, but know who you are. You know what it is you're pushing out, and know that, say if you're pushing out something with good intention, that know that, you know, that's what will be received, or not to not feel guilty about the actions that you take, because you know that it was based off of some real shit. And yeah, that's for Aries. And then pull a fucking oracle card for y'all, give y'all some advice of how to move forward, or what the moon has to say on in terms of moving forward. So we're talking about be bold and make the first move. That's that type of aspect. So it's really, man, Aries is on an assault, for real. Aries in just general, the individual, you know, being passionate about someone, going to war for something. It's like, no, you're thinking about yourself. It's like, no, you're supposed to think about other people first, supposed to consider feelings and all of that, all that shit, you know. You have to really be an example right now, or y'all are really a lifeline, you know. Aries is under attack, but it's being reflected on all of us, so we need y'all, or that energy, to really show us its strength, you know, to be bold, you know, to go over the hurdles that they couldn't go over before, because that's what we need to bridge the gap, to show individuality in areas, make an area use that passion, and an area use that fire, and actually tame it, you know, use it as a beneficial aspect, and it's not, you know, getting a hold of you and it becomes a part of you, that type of aspect. What the moon is trying to say. So let's move on to Taurus. What is Taurus consciously paying attention to? What archetype are they trying to absorb? And how do they bring out the positive side of this energy? Temperance. It's just interesting. This card represents Sagittarius. So you're trying to broaden your perspective, Taurus, and it's probably also due partly because of Uranus having its visit in your sign for last couple of years now. It's just causing a whole bunch of change and instability, and you know that shaking up shit is not what you like to deal with. You know, you like to be secure, and when things aren't secure, it has you bugging. It's a really hard time, tough time for our Tauruses. And just like what I was saying with Aries, how we really need you to step up, or y'all really being the example. But with Temperance, the energy that you guys are starting to assimilate, or that is being in front of you, is to be able to adopt broader perspectives, for you to be able to mix and mingle different ideas and different visions, for you to get a cohesive bigger picture. You know, it's more about seeing the bigger picture and doing that bigger alchemy, when you understand that it's not this section, but this section adds to this section, adds to this section, to create a whole big type machine. You know, you start to realize that, oh, these aren't individual products, these are ingredients that if I were to put and mix together, I were to get something completely new that has never existed before. That type of aspect. And that's a hard energy for y'all to assimilate, especially when you are trying to get that security, when you are trying to establish self-worth, you know, and feel secure within yourself. It's kind of a demanding need, just like what I was talking about in the beginning, how Taurus is the second thing. It's like that desire, it comes second. So you kind of need security in your life. That comes right after birth. Security, to feel secure, to feel stable, at least to some degree. So that's why you are being put with this Temperance type energy. This is why you need a broader perspective. This is why, because things are changing up. The things that you have, the value of them are changing, and you need to get new things. And the things that you had before that didn't have value, their value may be changing. So this is why you need to adjust how you are looking at the situation and take on a more mutable aspect. Take on a more intuitive, insightful type aspect. You know, you're going to have to place your faith in different things because value has changed. what you have previously been using, what has previously had value, is changed. So you can't keep on giving your faith to that type aspect and expect something to come out of it, because it's changed. You have to look at the big picture and be able to see how value is shifting and morphing for you to be in that secure state of being. This is where you have to decide what is important, or this is where you have to make that distinction, where Tauruses often fall because they think it's the possessions that they have, but it's not. It's the spiritual meaning behind the possession. It's not the house. It was never about the house. It was never about the house. It was about the feeling security the house gave you. That's what it was. And yes, there's nothing wrong with wanting the house, but when you forget that first part, when you start off from a faulty starting point, you're never gonna get to that destination. You have to remember, start off from a strong starting point, aka you understand it's the state of being that you are chasing, that physical object represents. Therefore, you'll have the broader perspective to see the bigger picture and be like, oh, that's fine if I don't have the house now or whatever, because I see the bigger picture and I'll get this whatever later, and I'll still feel the same way and all of that. So that type of aspect. So that's why you're being called to see the broader aspect and to start blending different ideas and aspects together, because value has changed. So now it's on to this experiment type thing, where we need y'all good sense of seeing what's stable, seeing what works, but we need y'all to try new things, or to send that onto another level, or take this to a new plateau, show us this new ascended view of what value is. And this is what you're already playing out. I'm saying it like you have a duty in your job, and it is a duty and it is a job, but you really don't have to do much. You're already doing it just by living. You're going to act out within these energies, because you're going to act out within your nature. That's one thing that can be counted on. Can't you expect, niggas to be on some dumb shit? You know what I mean? And when I say niggas, I hope y'all don't think I'm talking about black people. I ain't never talking about, unless the tone of my voice or the context is specifically towards black people. I'm not referring to specifically black people. It's really a generic term. But yeah, let's pull up the shadow card for Taurus. Everybody's an ignorant, for real. It's a general term for a person. Most of the time, an ignorant person. But term of endearment. It's your homie. Man, this is the most versatile word I've ever heard in my life. It's a verb, noun, action, word, fucking adjective. Nigga, that's shit. Everything. A noun. Nigga, that's a name. You don't even have to know the person's name. You just call them that nigga or something like that. And you'll probably be happy about it. I'm not questioning. It's a powerful word. But yeah, what's going on unconsciously for Taurus? What are y'all not aware of? What energy is hitting Taurus that may be undiscovered? And how do you rectify that energy? So the Seven of Serpents, and that's crazy, because the Seven of Serpents is representing Saturn in Taurus. So we're already dealing with similar like energy. But Saturn in Taurus, now it's the boundaries and limitations of what value is, It's the structures and foundations that are built that define what value is, and the boundaries that help us define meaning. Whereas you're trying to see the bigger picture. You're trying to see where you can ascend to, the new type of aspects, the new values that you can ascend through to, not to rely on the old traditional aspects, but how you can take value into the new level, how you can find security and stability within this new age, within the times that we live in now. But the previous limitations, the previous structures and foundations is unconsciously controlling the bigger picture that you are trying to construct. It's or saying, oh no, that piece doesn't go there, no, that piece doesn't go there, and then it turned into a jigsaw puzzle when you're fucking painting. You know what I mean? Initially you were painting and you were in full control of the strokes and all of that, but then through Saturn and its boundaries and limitations, checkered out everything, made it all jigsaw puzzly, and now you're like, oh, now you're trying to mix and match pieces and shit like that. That type aspect where when it's not a structure that you had built, or when because this is when we're talking about the world, when we're dealing with Saturn type energy, so you're kind of collecting or jumping into the collective type energy. So anytime when you're dealing with the world on large, you're handling a lot of that innate negative energy that we have, or already structures that pre-exist. And when you're not in the mindset, or when you don't have a good relationship with authority, or going against these other type of figures, or you don't have that foundation and that Saturnian aspect within yourself, or that faith, that status, idea of status within yourself, you can't run away from those type of energies. Like what I'm saying, you yourself are Aries to Pisces, so Capricorn's not bad, status is not bad, but you have to be on the right side of the spectrum of these energies in order for you to start being in states of beings that are beneficial to you. So that Saturn aspect, that Saturn energy is something that's been struggling. This is my card. This is where I got Saturn. I got Saturn in Taurus, and that shit kicking my ass. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm a Scorpio too, because that should be opposite. But this is definitely, it's kind of like got you working. In the Rider Tarot deck thing, it's the guy who's hammering the fucking pentacles, repeatedly. So it's like previous structures of how you get money and how you build self-worth is what's unconsciously stopping you from really coming in and creating a whole new lane. You can create a whole new lane. You are the tool. You are the producer. You are the thing with value, Taurus. But that often gets forgotten when you're a cog in a machine, or when your value is being put into another one. Now it's like, oh, you're a valuable asset to this thing, but you were a valuable asset to your goddamn self. That's what the starting point that it has to be. And let's see what type of advice that the moon has to give. Bring love into this situation. Bring love into the situation. That's interesting in terms of love, because Taurus, Venus energy, value, money, and all of that shit. We're talking about love. We're talking about attraction type energy. So if there's not real genuine love, that's what I was saying, don't get caught up in the things that it is, because when you get caught up in the thing, you can't really devote yourself or your love to that you're dealing with wrong energy, like energy. You're dealing with these physical things. When you understand it's the state of being that these things put you in, now there could be a real genuine appreciation, because now you understand, oh, this thing made me feel like that. Oh, I really appreciate that. Now you're bringing, now you're acting like to like, now you're working on the same type of frequency with that energy. Now you're dealing with water, that type of aspect. And so now Gemini, what light archetype are we paying attention to? What are you paying attention to and trying to assimilate? What is facing Gemini right now in their daily lives? Or is facing them, what archetype they're gonna have to deal with this Libra season? And they're gonna try and assimilate fucking Knight of Cups. The Knight of Cups. So it's more so when you're talking about the knights and stuff like that, the knights are always on a mission.
And depending on whatever suite is the mission that they're on. So Gemini, you're on a mission to be in a state of being, or to feel a certain way, to for you to master your emotions, basically, or for you to not even just master your emotions, but to come into that dream-like state of being. Not that dream, for you to feel like how you want to feel and how you deserve to feel, that type of aspect, and controlling your emotion. But often with Gemini energy, you're going to be doing it trying to control your mind, and this can be harder for you to tap into that intuitive type energy where you are letting the mind, your brain, your words and logic and linear mind take a back seat, allowing your intuitions to start guiding. And see, this is the trick. Whereas people are going to, knock down Gemini, knock down the mind and all of that shit. Nah, y'all got superpowers, especially with the fast moving mind, just the ability to think and shit like that. If you were to combine that, look at the mentality and the masculine side of that energy, the pushing out the thoughts and stuff like that as a steering wheel and direction and stuff like that, where you're pinpointing which direction you're moving in the esoteric realm, but your emotions is like the full fuel. It's your booster. With the linear mindset, you can only go straight, but that other shit, adding in your emotions, will let you turn, and now you're able to actually move and navigate and actually go to places in the esoteric realm, move more efficiently when you combine and work in tandem with your emotions. So understand that if you're trying to control your mind and the type of things that are coming into your mind, how you articulate yourself and communicate and all of that type of stuff, your state of being is 100% one of the major factors of what thoughts are going to be coming into your mind and how you're going to communicate and articulate yourself. And if you know how to control or jump into different states of being based off of the situation and what needs to be going on, you're ill. You're already, now you're starting to create the type of reality that you need, and you're using your emotions in ways that are beneficial to you. And not in that cheesy aspect, because with the air signs, they often trying to not get emotional because they see all these flunked out ass emotional people, get drowning in it. But the wise ones realize that you don't have to fucking drown, but if you were to incorporate a little bit, that's where they get that boost. It's like, damn, dude, they be looking at yeah, you're all washed out, but it's like, how do you sustain, or like, how you holding on to this? How are you able to do this? How are you so strong, or how are you doing all of that type of aspect? Because air is very light and dancing, even though it's very strong and forceful, it's almost like it's not there. Meanwhile, earth and water, they're very much, there type aspect. Same thing with fire. If you get what I mean. And yeah, let's see. And that's the archetype that you're going to try to be assimilating this Libra season. The state of being that you were trying to be in. That's going to control if you're able to bring harmony into situations or not. If you're able to make the relationships that you need to be able to make. Start finding ways to control and build up that muscle memory of shifting into different states of being, and learning your own internal natures of how to get into different states of being, so you can trigger the type of thoughts that you want to be having, so that you can trigger the way of communicating that you want to be communicating in. See what's going on unconsciously for Gemini, what Gemini is not paying attention to. What would be unconscious that may come up and sneak up on them this Libra season. The fucking world, Gemini. And that's interesting, because I was even talking about this earlier with my girlfriend, where the North Node being in Gemini, it's funny how just Geminis are just getting pure flack, like just disrespect. Fucking Kanye dropped his album, that shit was amazing. Fucking Donna's a fucking work of art. I don't know what y'all niggas bugging about. I don't know what it is y'all have against Geminis, but that shit needs to stop. It's really upsetting me. Y'all niggas just trashing some good niggas
and it making them all scared, you know. Fucking Kanye have to deal with all of this hate and flack before you put out an album. Let the nigga put out albums. Same thing with Trump. You have to let this nigga talk. Like, y'all just throwing so much flack, just not liking niggas just for one fucked up shit you said. Like, do you not understand Gemini? You're not coming to Gemini with enough understanding. That's fucked up. But yeah, that world card, talking about the North Node being in Gemini, a lot, like, there's really that attention that's going on. And because the North Node is in Gemini, and this is what we are all responding to, the North Node controls or it represents destiny, the direction that you are destined to move into, which is an area of uncomfortability for sure because it's unfamiliar, but it's what you need to learn for further development. AKA, nobody gives a fuck about the facts anymore. Nobody gives a fuck about the surface, what's actually going on. It's all about how you feel about it. And that's the type of aspect that they're beginning on. Whereas dealing with just the facts, just the surface level of what things are, is kind of uncomfortable. So when you're out, Gemini's out here spitting pure facts, it's like, okay, yeah, you feel this way, but this is what's actually going on and shit like that. The world's like, no. So this is that influence that you may be feeling. Whereas what you are doing, the truth that you are spitting, the pure truth that you are being an emissary or a conduit for, it affects the world, or it's making the world uncomfortable. So that discomfort may prevent you from having that control, may prevent you from, steer you and make you put your energy in different places, make you think you have to be in different states of beings than what you actually need to be in. You know what I mean? Or for you to forfeit the control of what state of being you're in automatically, when you're letting the world dictate, whether you can communicate something or how you deliver your truth and shit like that. You're already lost the battle because you're already in a state of being that you didn't want to be in. And if you're stuck in that type, you already gave them enough power to even feel that way or to feel stuck and stuff like that. So you have to get out of it. And how you get out of it? Let's ask the moon. Let's ask the moon oracle what advice you can use moving forward to bring out the best of the light archetype and to stay away from the worst of the shadow. Time to give rather than take. Time to give rather than take. I know you didn't want to hear that, Gemini. No, you didn't want to hear that. But I understand, because time to give rather than take, that aspect of what it's trying to it's like you kind of already understand that, but it's using it in a different type of energy, or you already understand that energy in terms of, Geminis often would say things or present information just to see how people react so that they can collect more information, you know what I mean? But what that moon oracle type deal is talking about is more so when you give, aka push out certain type of energy instead of trying to take certain type of energy, you're kind of setting this esoteric GPS ping of you put out a certain energy, so it's now like light energy can now levitate and come to it and try to attract. So if you're in that giving mindset, when you're in that mindset of presenting what you had accumulated, presenting the truth that you want to push out, and even if there's initial bad reactions, it's going to act as that magnet and bring things into your life that shows you, oh, that guy's going to the right way, or oh, this is what I need to do to be in that state of being, or help you learn those things about you, those aspects about you. And yeah, that's for Gemini. The light. Let's check out the light for Cancer. What on the light side archetype is Cancer trying to assimilate this Libra season? And how can they best bring out the best attributes of this archetype? Oh shit. Oh shit. Cancer, y'all got the Nine of Swords. Now I don't know if y'all know what that is in the other tarot decks. That's the one with the nigga who's in bed crying and shit. The nigga's up in bed, I can't sleep. But that's Mars in Gemini, aka a verbal assault. So what you would have to be, and that makes perfect sense when we're dealing with Cancer, because y'all care about things a little bit too much, or y'all so quick to extend care and your feelings and emotions to things, to let things, come in. It's funny how protective you guys definitely are protective of that, what you allow in. But in that protectiveness, it's funny how it's like having very strong chain links, but the links are big, so some certain things still get through, but it's kind of like shit can't get out. It starts playing out like that. But and it's funny, but with the Nine of Swords, it's that mental attack wherever you're giving your care and attention to. It's kind of like that verbal assault type deal where a bunch of being bombarded with doubt, those type of thoughts, surface level type facts, or facts of the matter that can be misconstrued and strung in any type of way, type deal. And the moon is in y'all signs today right now too, so dealing with the square right now, and y'all going through the square and the Mercury square and the Mercury retrograde. Oh, Cancer's going through it for sure. The Mercury retrograde. Oh shit. Oh shit. So maybe that's where the onslaught is going on, because as people are trying to start conversations about harmony and shit like that, you be talking about how you feel, and niggas is like, what about how I feel? But it's like, what about how you feel? But what about how I? What about? And that's the argument between Cancer and Libra, type aspect. Whereas Libra is like, yeah, I understand that's how you feel, but you're supposed to go and do this. But then Cancer's like, but this is how I feel. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm supposed to do this and all of that. But that mental assault, it's just, maybe it would be, and this is the archetype that need to dive into as well, or it's the archetype that you are paying attention to. So maybe even using your words for warfare, or not even using it for warfare, but to use your words to get your words across, or to get your point across, to allow things to start sparking it and catalyzing, especially with all the things that are going on, or with this square energy that is going on. It's kind of challenging Cancer right now in terms of, because we have the sun, what we all are paying attention to, Mercury, Venus is already in Scorpio. We have Mars, our desires and passions and stuff like that, which are all in Libra, the Sun, Mercury, and Mars. So what we're paying attention to in terms of the Sun, how we're thinking and communicating our desires and passions are all in an area where we're trying to meet the other way. Is all in an area where we are trying to be more, packaged, whereas Cancer is really raw in terms of it's I feel, this is how I feel, that raw aspect. So not being afraid to be raw, or at least to take in the learning experience that the square is providing you in terms of how much harmony you can bring to your private life, in terms of, or how much harmony actually exists, and how you can establish harmony on that private life. Whereas when you so it's not as hard to let others come in to your home, or you're not so protective of that private space where it's no, I have to protect it after do all of that. As long if you just communicate your desires, if you let how feel it, really get those feelings off of your chest, really communicate it, and let it out and releasing those energies. Why are you holding on to feelings and emotions when your sign is ruled by the moon, and the moon is constantly waning and waxing? It goes through shit. Nobody can say the moon is not going through shit. Nobody can say Cancer isn't going through shit. And that there's not a reason for you to be feeling the way that you feel. But you also need to wax that shit, aka let that shit go. And communicating in it, saying the snippy shit if niggas need a snippy shit, being, maybe you need to get into the demon time type aspect, but speaking your truth, and that'll help alleviate that stress and help give you better sleep, help you have the weight off your shoulder. And let's see what shadow aspect is falling Cancer. What shadow aspect is following Cancer? What is Cancer unaware of for this Libra season? Looks like Cancer is unaware of the mission that they are on in terms of building the mentality, because you're probably maybe even trying to hold on to comforts. Or diving into private, that's what the square can be scaring you of entering in that. You want to be private, or you want to be comfortable, but when you start adding other people into the mix, it's like you can't guarantee that privateness, you can't guarantee that comfort anymore. So you have to be wary of the mentalities that you are, sitting out on, be wary about that care that you have, that you are really diving into, or that thing that you want to express, in terms of being honest. Yes, use those words, fucking let it rip, let it how you feel be known. But what is the intentions behind what you are saying? What's the mission that you're trying to accomplish with communicating? If it's just cussing off, the people, you're gonna end up on that dark aspect of it, and you're going to be burning bridges, not actually going through that learning experience. When your intentions are in the right place, though, or at least directed into your mentalities are centered around, there's authenticity in the mentalities, and you can claim them as your own. This is what I think, this is what I believe, this is how I feel type aspect. Now you're in the right space, and then shoot those shots. Communicate how you feel, communicate those truths, and you definitely will be able to bring balance into those situations, and to not be too afraid to open up your home, or to not be so protective of the home and what is private to you when you are mixing and mingling your energy with other people. Let's see what advice the moon has to give to Cancer. Oh shit, you and your loved ones are safe. It's probably an aspect to really for you to remember, especially because you are that fucking care bear. You care so much, Cancer, but it's also to a fault. Whereas you care, but you're starting to add where you care so much that you're starting to add all this worry, and you're starting to be overprotective. And that's crazy, because checking with Harris and all the shit he pumping out, how the moon rules the fucking lymph nodes, your immune system, the things that protect you. But your immune system can destroy you, aka be over effective and start damaging the things that are actually beneficial. Now look at mothers. The overprotectiveness of mothers, aka it had a good purpose, aka your immune system's there to protect you. It's there, it's good for aka your mother's there. She's supposed to raise you and teach you how to do all of this other shit. But if she gets all flunked out and all overprotective, it starts being really destructive. So coming from that calm place, it's very to know that people are safe, or that things are okay now, that you and your loved ones are fine, that there's not the catch up that you have to protect anything. When you start loosen up, that's like, imagine tightness around the heart, constricting that, because that's what I'm saying, that's the area of Cancer, and that's the type of thing that would be Debo, that tightness around there, and that's not what you want, or that's not nurturing. That's not how you get that type of energy. But yeah, so now we're looking at Leo. What is Leo paying attention to this Libra season? What light is Leo trying to assimilate? And how can you best bring about prosperity and abundance in accordance to this archetype this Libra season? The fucking Chariot. So we're talking about Libra. So I mean fucking Leo, my bad. So with the Chariot, this is Cancer energy. So it's focusing on really caring about something and directing your energy. It's kind of like going on to a mission. It's kind of like you are setting out, to go and claim something, or for you to receive something. If you get what I mean, there's a noble cause that you are kind of giving yourself to, or that you are the aspect that protects. You know what I mean? And whatever it is that you care for, this is what you are trying to protect. And when we're dealing with Leo energy, we're dealing with your creative expression. So maybe there is a lot of push to be protective of your creative attributes, or for your expression of self in general. It needs protection. Your creative expression, it needs protection. But just like what I was talking about with Cancer, that protection can go too far, aka leukemia type aspects, where your white blood cells start actually attacking you when their jobs are supposed to be in protecting you. So don't get into that negative side of the protective energy, but allow to create sacred spaces for you to create and express your creativity. Don't just over exhaust. It feels like that fixed fire, like it can never run out, but and that is true, but the goal is to maintain it at an equilibrium, if you get what I mean, which takes protection, which takes especially a gust of wind come and enlarge in the fire more than what it needed to be, or if there wasn't enough protection, something can come and take it out, and it's not able to start back up, because it wasn't being protected type aspect. So that child, and we're talking about Leo, we're talking about the children aspect too. So it's the protecting of the children. It's protecting and nurturing of that childlike aspect within you that wants to create and explore and build worlds and be an individual. That type of aspect, it needs protection. And that's what you're really going to be focusing on. And you're going to be able to see it, because that's under attack with all of the planets in Aquarius kind of opposing that Leo type energy. creative self-expression, you being yourself as an individual, stepping into your own power as an individual, you in the home, being the ruler of your home. That's not what niggas want to talk about. That's not what they want to talk about. You want to talk about the aspect where you're not the ruler, not you in your home, because now we're giving you much power. Let's talk about society, and stuff like that. Let's talk about the city. You ain't shit to the city, you know what I mean? But the mayor runs the city, so he's probably some shit to the city and all of the councils and all that type of aspect. So now when you're dealing with the collective, or when you're dealing with, all the multiples of people and stuff like that, not the individual, now it's held higher and shit like that. That's the type of shit you're gonna have to be dealing with. So that creative self-expression, really protect it. If you have to be private about it, for it to be protected and be safe, for it not to be under attack, or for you to feel free, and that's the biggest thing, for there to be that genuinity, for you to be able to express yourself the way you express yourself, without fear of being embarrassed, without fear of consequences, for you to authentically be yourself. But you may need to create a space for that for yourself, and that's what you're going to be paying attention to this Libra season. Maybe even creating relationships and bonds of people that can help facilitate that type of environment. And let's see what shadow you're paying attention to. I'm gonna do this faster, y'all. It's getting late, dude. But we already at Leo. We're already halfway through, or almost. The Ten of Wands. When you're dealing with the Ten of Wands, this is Saturn in Sag. So, but Leo, we're talking about this, the one where the niggas fucking holding all the motherfucking sticks like that. But with the Ten of Wands, you have a lot of experiences. You have a lot of images already. You already have a lot of perspectives. You already seen things in a lot of ways. But that can really be the barrier that stops you, because you already went through these so much experiences and stuff like that you kind of already build a mentality around things. AKA you've seen enough people cheat you in terms of, for you to build up this type of mentality around relationships. But just because, and you have met a lot, if you can definitely justify it, especially if you've had experienced a lot of fucked up relationships where people did you wrong and shit like that. But that doesn't mean that everyone's going to be like that. So that's where, just because you have a lot of experiences in a particular area, that could also end up being a limitation and boundary, because that's the only area, because it's your knowledge, and you maybe get too comfortable and stick in there a little bit too long and rely on your experiences instead of going out for new ones and shit like that and creating new. So that's an type of energy that you have to be wary of. And let's see what's going on, what the moon has to say, what advice the moon has to give for this Libra season. Emotions are running high. Emotions are running high. And this is probably why you need to create that safe space, so that creative expressions can be had, Yes, the world is forcing you to be in that other energy. So you're going to experience resistance on that Leo energy. Just that's that warmth that you come with. Just that attention that you draw to yourself. It's like, why is this person drawing attention to this? You just walked in. You just being Leo. Oh, hi. Just being your goddamn natural self. Coming in with everybody's wearing, certain bow ties or some shit like that. You come in with a bandana or some shit like that. And you're like, what's wrong with this person and all you did was come in with the bandana type. But that's the type of shit that would be getting thrown at you. But that's why you need to create that safe space. And I'm not even talking about necessarily physically, but that's also mentally, where you can get to a mental state where you feel safe enough to authentically be yourself. Yeah, and then let's look at Virgo. What is Virgo looking at and trying to assimilate? Yeah. Hold on. Hold on, hold on. Hold on. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Hold on, hold on, hold on. Perfect. Alright, yeah, Virgo. What are you consciously paying attention to this Virgo season? I mean, Leo season. What archetype is in front of you and that you are being conscious of? For all my Virgos. The Queen of Cups. And this is that type of magnetism type aspect. And we just came through that harvest season where we just came through your season. So, and Virgo, you always try and be perfect, or there's this essence of trying to be perfect or to really make things as best as they can be, as efficient as they can be. It's always, better. It's always you can do more, it's always it can be cleaner, or it can be better this, it can be better that, that type of aspect. But what the Queen of Cups is saying is that what is consciously in front of you, the archetype or where the mind is trying to go, is getting to a point where you attract things to you, where you understand how to manifest things, and to not to get so critical, not to get so lost into the physical, thinking that you have to go do this for 36 hours and doing all of that type of mindset and all of that. You really have to focus on the state of being that you are in, and that is going to manifest better outcomes. AKA, and if you don't believe that, Virgo's like, what are you talking about? You have to work 72 hours to make it perfect and doing all of that. But then y'all be sitting there, end up becoming the critics, aka the person who has the more audacity to say that they're the artist or to say that they're the creator and stuff like that. Meanwhile, they're trash, or they're not trash, but they're average, but you're sitting there criticizing them and stuff like that, and you made that your aspect, but they're the ones who had the audacity to say it, and then somehow they manifested it because maybe they genuinely believed in what and what they said, to some degree it had to have been. So it's really about um, um, audacity. So the Queen of Cups is saying have the audacity to have that royal type aspect that you deserve to be in this state of being, that this is the state of being that you are in, that, and the things that you want are going to come to you. And with that type of mindset, Virgo, I'm telling you, you're going to start seeing that, things are actually starting to be perfect. Not perfect, but things are actually starting to come together more. Things are actually starting to be more efficient. I didn't even have to work as hard for this to come out, I didn't even have to articulate that. I didn't even have to analyze and break down the situation to see how it works and go and fix and accommodate things to go and make it better. It already came to me in a fix and fashion where it can link up with other things and work perfectly. That type of aspect. So to not get lost into that worrying aspect of Virgo, to not get lost into that perfecting aspect of Virgo, but to know that the work that you had done is going to bring it in. It's going to bring it to control those types of states of beings for you. Okay, you did the work. You ill at that. You know what I mean? So you know that this is due to you. So that you know that this is coming. I'm telling you, that'll make the world of difference in manifesting. And let's see what you are being unconscious of. Unconscious of the Tower. So it's your desires. So it's the things that you are wanting and your passions and the things that kind of get under your skin or that get you going. A desire is unconsciously kind of pulling your strings, or maybe that desire is what's causing you to overwork into an area, or it's causing you to worry because you want to have this thing, you have this particular image, you have this burning desire of something that you really want, that you have to have, but it is preventing you from being in that state of being of abundance, of knowing that you deserve this type thing, that you by how much you want it. So you have to, I understand that you may really want it, but you're gonna have to come to that point where if you're trying to really manifest it into your life, you have to start doing the actions that are actually going to start bringing it into your life, without all of that extra shit attached. If you really want to bring it in, if you really want it to come, be in that state of being. You have to stop wanting it to a desire, or else you're going to perpetuate wanting it more. And you don't realize that how much you want it is what's pushing it away from you. But once you start realizing that you already is, or you start coming into the mindset that I already am that this is already mine, this is already due to me, this is coming, you want it. So yeah, let's see what the moon is saying. What advice the moon be giving? Expect powerful change. So yeah, this is a fucking eclipse energy type going on. So like what I'm saying, man, once you start being into that state of being, man, I'm telling you, you already did the work. You already did the work. Start acting like it. Start acting like the things that you know you deserve is coming. I swear to God, it'll change everything. Now you'll actually start working, and now you'll start actually manifesting, and now you start seeing why you did the things, or you start to seeing your work actually start to pay off. Libra. Was Libra consciously paying attention to this Libra season? It's y'all birthday, y'all flight day. How are y'all dealing with this season, and what archetype are y'all consciously paying attention to this season and trying to assimilate the positive aspects of? Fucking Seven of Serpents. And that's that working energy. That's that working to build a type of foundation type energy. So y'all, looks like y'all getting worked, or y'all looking at work, or y'all trying to get into some type of structure of value. You guys are trying to build some type of structure around value. Maybe this is what's leading or heading the type of relationships that you are trying to build, because even just being Libra, you already understand that you already understand values, having the Venus connection, but maybe understand the lack of the feminine side, or the knowledge of what actually has value type aspect, or what you can push out that will be appreciated, what you can push out that's what I'm saying, that has value, but value is changing. So you're really looking at the structure of value that we had before, the work that you have put in, and what once was value, and maybe because that's changing, now you're trying to fill up that reservoir, in terms of, now you're trying to push out this new type of value. Now you're trying to push out this new type of way of
connecting and understanding worth, you know. It's kind of changing the monetary system, aka just like, you know, when Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies type coming on the scene, it kind of, you know, changed the structure and foundation that is going on. And then people started putting in work, you know, into that, building structures into that type of aspect to facilitate this new type of value that has come about. So it's like you're doing a micro version of that within your life. You're putting in that work or seeing the boundaries and structure that is centered around value of work, of how to get things done and stuff like that, to see what you should be pushing out, to see what has value now and how you can bring balance to things. And that's what you'll be paying attention to that Libra season. So it sounds like it's going to be a working type aspect, but it's also going to be very misunderstanding, because this is that type, it's dealing with Taurus energy, which is coming in conjunction or quincunx with um, Libra. So it's kind of like, because it's the feminine side of Venus, while Taurus is trying to receive type aspect, it's trying to receive value. Libra is trying to push out value. So that's where the misunderstanding is, where Libra's trying to reach out the extending hand, and then Taurus is trying to take a hand. You know. So that kind of would be harder. So you might be dealing with a tough time, or dealing with awkwardness type aspect, whereas you're extending your hand out and it seems like people want you to reach out a little bit more, but it may be due to your understanding or the structure that is surrounded around value. So reevaluate the structure that's around value and what you are putting your work into, you know, or what you consider is valuable now, because that whole idea is under change and construction. And let's see what you are unconscious of, what you are not paying attention to. The Hermit, aka what could unconsciously be holding back is what you have analyzed on your dolo, in terms of what you are unconscious of is the critical aspect of you that may be starting to come out. Or with the Hermit, I guess it's more so talking about for Libras that maybe not even just a call for you guys to take a seat back and reflect, but you are in your element when you talk with other people, or you are in your element when you are using your relationships in benefit to you, you know. So you can't really be running for that type of energy or that lack of social aspect, you know. It's like you're out here searching for value, but you are the item of value, you know what I mean? So you trying to make sense out of things, but you're the product, if you get what I mean. And that's where you will kind of sell yourself short, where you are stuck in that waiting type position. You're stuck into waiting to see how things are going to play out, waiting to see how things would be, when you need to be an active participant in this Libra season. So it's gonna make you feel like you're gonna want to sit out. That's gonna be hard for you to bring harmony into places, especially with that Pluto square, with Pluto and Capricorn, that's going to come
Oh yeah, for sure. Libras is having a tough time with that season. With this Libra season, it's gonna be very transformative. And the way that you're able to bring harmony and even balance on a one-on-one level with people because of the transformation society is going through is shifting completely. So you being in that waiting energy is really gonna hold you back. You being in that, oh, I gotta sit back and analyze what is going on. Um, it's really gonna hold you back. Because now's the time for you to put in that work to establish that new value, or to see what is of value now, what you can provide, what stability looks like now. And let's see what the moon, advice the moon has to give. So the moon is saying, bring love into the situation. Bring love into the situation. In terms of the square that is coming on, yes, all of that transformative stuff is coming, but it's kind of saying don't run away from that square, or this battle is what needs to be happen. Peace Stealer talks about these boss battles all the time. This square is probably one of them, one of those necessary energies where we have to see Libra go up against Capricorn, or Capricorn's transformation. We have to see this square. This is a necessary learning experience that we have to go through. So all you have to do is stay in your integrity in terms of trying to bring harmony into things. You're just trying to bring balance. You're just trying to get both sides to agree. Use proper methods and being open and not persuasive or manipulating type persuasive, but help them see their own point, help blend and mix your energy with other people to see what state of being they're in and help bridge that gap. You are the bridge, and that's what's being tested right now, how well we can bridge gaps. So you're gonna have to be the most diplomatic. You're gonna have to be diplomatic right now to keep the peace, or else there will be war. Watch that. That Pluto square is no joke. So we're really looking at y'all to set that example.